What's up, people? This is Who That Edition, with your favorite host, Trill Quet. And we back, baby. Week 5 is here. Previews and picks. Got one of the biggest games of the season. Bama and Georgia. Everybody love Bama. New fans starting to love Georgia. Let's get into it. Starting off first, my Buffaloes. Colorado be going down to Orlando, Florida versus UCF Knights. Disrespectful by ESPN and the odds is UCF favored by 14? That's a lot of points to be favored by when they haven't played nobody but one team. They only won by 1 point. Let's get into it. It's going to come down to two things. Can Colorado stop the run? And can UCF stop Colorado's passing game? Right? UCF has ran the ball for 450, 380, and 280 against their three opponents, right? So running the ball is their formula. They have a great running back. And their quarterback also, KJ Jefferson runs the ball well. And that's their formula for success, right? And Colorado, the media, the narrative is that Colorado can't stop the run. But looking at the stats and watching the film, it shows Colorado has been managing the run. I'm not going to say stopping, but they haven't been getting beat or gassed by the run, right? In their past 4 games, they've given up 157, 149, 131, 166. So them against the run, it's not been as bad as you may think or what you may think because, like I said, the media and the narrative. But listen to Trill Quet, the new true media of college football, right? While Colorado pass game against real competition, TCU gave up 400 yards and 4 tutties and no interceptions, and they generated no sacks in the past 4 games, and they only played a real school in TCU. So look for Shador to have a great game. That's going to be a Colorado formula to success, right? Film and numbers show that UCF can't get out to the passer, and that's the perfect formula for Colorado to have a great game, right? Going against a team that can't touch Shador, and Shador having a clean pocket should be a great, great game for Shador. Now, KJ Jefferson, I think, will be big, right? Once Colorado hopefully stops the run and loads the box and forces KJ Jefferson to throw the ball, it will be a long night for UCF. He only threw for 59%. He completed 59% of his passes last week, and he isn't, a great pocket passer. He's a bigger type of quarterback. The offensive coordinator is a coordinator from the Cam Newton time at Auburn, so he tries to run a lot of those type of plays, QB power, and he doesn't. He's not accurate with the ball. He's not an accurate passer, and he misses, good throws. So Colorado has to force UCF to throw the ball, get them in third and long and obvious passing situations, and that would be the success for Colorado. Big thing to look out for would be the weather. In Orlando, the humidity is a very, very big difference from Colorado's altitude. In Colorado, it's through the ceiling, and now in Miami, it's under the ocean, right? Under the roof, under hill. So see how they, adjust and how much does that affect Colorado players. If it does affect, there will be a lot of cramping, a lot of guys, needing IVs and missing time and things like that. So we're going to see how the weather is a factor. But sneaky tip, Colorado is practicing inside UCF indoor facility. I don't like that. It may be some cameras in there. They may be recording or something going on. But if they know how our plays and blow us out, I'm blaming it on that. They was recording our plays, and I don't like that. I do not like that they practicing in their facility. But key to success for this week, Colorado win versus UCF will be one, of course, stop the run, right? UCF coming in running heavy. That's definitely their game plan. That's what they do. So stopping the run will be one. Two, Travis versus Kobe Hudson. He's the number one receiver. He's the number one threat. He's really the biggest threat in the pass game. He's a top receiver in this coming up NFL draft. So putting Travis on him and eliminating him will be big. And three, I would say weather, cramping and staying hydrated and things like that. It's going to be a big difference from playing in Colorado and practicing in Colorado to going to Miami. And when going to Orlando, Florida, it's going to be a big difference. So staying hydrated and staying, juiced up and things like that and not getting cramps will be big. Because if your star players like Travis or McKinney or, a D lineman, one of them get cramps and then You never know. It could be a gash or that may shut a drive down on offense. So staying hydrated and things like that would be big in a game like this in Florida. But hopefully the weather doesn't, affect this game, delay it or cancel it. It's a hurricane watch, I believe, in that area, in the Florida South area. So prayerfully, hurricane doesn't come and cancel the game or ruin this great game. This will be a big, big, big win for Colorado. Right now in the Big 12, will be 2-0 in the Big 12. UCF is kind of looked at as a great school, right? Being favored by 14, so obviously looked at as a good team this year. So a win like this would be big. A win like this would be very big for Dion. There's a bunch of recruits there. Dion said the recruits are really for Colorado, so we're gonna see. But it's a big, big time matchup for Colorado, and look for my Buffs to get the dub, 31-20. Buffs. Now to game of the week, possibly game of the year. Bama versus Georgia. 2 versus 3 in Tuscaloosa. This is what we've been waiting for, boy. This is what we've been waiting for. We getting it early in week 5. The biggest headline for me, Kirby Smart versus Kalen DeBoer. Kirby Smart cannot let Kalen DeBoer, first year in the SEC, first year as Alabama's head coach, come in and beat him. Kirby Smart is supposed to be the best coach under the Nick Saban tree and supposed to be the best coach really in college football since Nick Saban has retired. He's been widely known as the best, and he's only losses really are to Nick Saban. It's like, that's fine. You lost Nick Saban. He the best ever. Cool. Now that Nick Saban is gone, Kirby Smart, this is your chance. This is your time to run it up and get you some championships and become second best coach ever, or shoot, even be in that argument with Saban, right? But if Kellen DeBoer get those boys ready with a great game plan and come in and beat Georgia and Kirby Smart, that's going to be bad for Kirby. He cannot afford a loss to a new cat. The new cat. That's what they call him. Kellen DeBoer in the SEC, the new cat. You the new guy. You don't know what to do here. You never been here. You was in Pac-12 Sweet Passing League. Now you in SEC with hit you in your mouth, get back up, hit your mouth again. So that's a big, big headline for me. But to the players, and let's get to what can and may not win this game for each team. Right? So for Georgia, ETN has to be the focal point. ETN may get 20, at least 20 touches. She's get at least 20 carries, probably at least 25 total touches, right? He is the focal point. He is the star of that offense. He gets them going. Last week in a tough win, he had like 19 carries for 80 yards, something like that. Don't think that was enough. So feeding him will be big in maybe a close game or equally opponent in Bama. And with Bama being home, the run game should be where they look at, right? Dominic Levert, he so far got 12 catches, 155 yards. He's became that wide receiver 1 for Carson Beck. He's became Carson Beck number 1 guy to go to in crucial downs and just to get the drives going, things like that. So Levert to have a big game would be big. Bama secondary is new. They don't have much continuity. You have a freshman out there, transfer out there, so there's not much continuity. But they do have an all-pro safety. So look for him to try to maybe not line him up with Levert, but maybe bracket Levert, and I'll just beat you. So also Georgia's tight end is nice. They have a nice tight end. So I think he will have a big game. He should be big in the pass game and help Beck settle down. But Georgia goal and game plan must be running the ball, and it must be running the ball towards the left. That would be big in this game. I will try to keep track of that. How much do Georgia run the ball to the left, and how much success they have running the ball to the left. Looking at the Nebraska game, that was the key point in them. Nebraska ran the ball a lot, and they ran the ball to the left a lot, right? Bama gave up 200 yards and 149 yards against Nebraska and USF, South Florida. So the run defense for Bama has been a little sus these past 2 games. Not saying that it's, been bad, because they still won, and it hasn't been the reason that the games were close, but ultimately they won, and when they needed stops, they got them. So the run defense has been somewhere you can exploit Bama so far, and to the left side, really has been there, right? So look for Georgia to feed ETN and a lot of courage to the left. Bama on offense. It's gonna come down to I think Miro being able to make the difficult passes. There's not gonna be guys 10 yards open, 20 yards open, or running down the field, but how how good of an accurate passer can Miro be? This was a big game for Miro to solidify himself as a top quarterback in the NFL draft. He's looked at like an Anthony Richardson type of guy, right? He has the potential maybe, and he has the deep ball accuracy, the mobility. But can he actually drop back and hit a 10-yard dig? Can he hit a corner route? Can he hit a curve route all on time and in the precise in the right position? Can Bama hit that big play, right? That's Bama MO, right? The big play, 20-yard plays, 20-yard gains, and 20-yard touchdowns and things like that. It's kind of Bama's MO. Ryan Williams getting down the field, number 5 getting down the field, or Miller breaking a run. Can they find a way to hit that big play against a stout Georgia defense who rarely gives up big plays, and secondary is probably one of the best in the country? So how does Bama generate big plays? But when Bama does have long drives and they don't get the big plays, they have to end those drives in 7. Holding the ball for 7 minutes on a 12-play drive and then kicking 3 is going to ultimately lose, right? Kicking field goals lose your games, while scoring touchdowns wins your game. So how will Bama sustain drives and end long drives with 7? That was their weaker point in the Nebraska game, right? They had long drives where they made it look like they was driving, and they ultimately settled for field goals, and they really just scored on the long plays and the quick drives, right? So most of your drives will be maybe long drives, settling. You have to settle for 6 yards, get 7 yards, get 6 yards, get 7 yards, get 10, and you have to punch 7 in those drives. You can't, kick field goals, right? Running the ball would be big, right? Kentucky ran for 170 yards against Georgia 2 weeks ago. So getting Haynes involved and Miro involved would be big. How will Calendar Ball scheme up some, run lanes and rush lanes for Miro? You don't want Miro running too much. You take a big hit, your season is altered a lot, right? Right now, you still have championship aspirations. So how will Calendar Ball balance from his quarterback running, which is not his best ability, which is a big ability of his? How will he keep him in the pocket to keep him protected, still able to finish the entire game and make good throws, right? I think a big factor would be the freshman, right? Alabama has a true freshman in Ryan Williams, while Georgia has a true freshman in Ellis Robinson, right? Both of the freshmen are big factors and big roles on each team. Will Ryan Williams drop a pass, or will Eli Robinson, drop an interception? Would he get beat deep? Will Ryan Williams catch a deep ball? Which freshman would make the true or the big play or the losing play for their team, whether that be Ryan Williams or Eli Robinson on a wide receiver spot or the DB spot, with both of them playing and having big roles in each team? And this is definitely the biggest game for both of them as true freshmen. Ryan Williams having a little advantage being home, but in this game, man, home field matters. But at the end of the day, it's about 11 on 11, and them two teams, lining up and showing who's better. So I think a big factor would be which freshman makes that winning play or that losing play for the team, whether it be Ryan Williams and the 17-year-old, Eli Robinson, and the 18-year-old for Georgia. But ultimately, I got Bama pulling this out. I'm a big fan of Calendar Ball, Ryan Williams, Jalen Miro, Haynes, and them guys. I'm a big fan of those guys. So I think they pull out a close one, 26-21. As Bama beats Georgia early in week 5. Now to Friday Night Lights. The Heisman favorite, right? Everybody got him as the Heisman. He's the guy. Cam Ward, Miami 7th ranked versus Virginia Tech Friday night under the lights at Hard Rock Stadium. ACC opener, right? Miami's favored by 19. Miami's home. Virginia Tech is 2-2. This is kind of a big game for them. They cannot go down go as a record for 2-3. season is kind of chalked, or your chances of making, ACC championship may be losing to Miami. Although it's only the ACC first game, but just this early will be bad with Louisville looking good so far. So Virginia Tech is going to be hungry. They're going to be desperate for a win, and there's going to be some big things that this game come down to. One will be Cam Ward ability to make difficult throws. Right, this will be the best defense and secondary he's faced. Virginia Tech has only given up 166 yards passing per game so far. So how will Cam Ward play and react to a good secondary? Right, the last few games, Cam Ward has thrown 300 yards per game, and he's played against trash competition or lower competition, I would say. And he's been balling out. He's been Heisman favorite due to, I would say, his schedule. Not saying that he's incapable, but his schedule hasn't been the toughest so far, right? So we will see how he reacts and how he plays. I think this right here is a big Heisman moment, big Heisman game. Friday Night Lights, all the lights and brights. Lights, cameras, actions is for you, right? Cam Ward, you're the guy. Let's see it. So Heisman is always about when do you make, your best games and who do you do it against, right? Johnny Manziel back in the day did it against Alabama. Last year Jaden Daniels did it against Florida, right? So when and where do you have your Heisman type games? For Virginia Tech, they must feed to Tutton, the running back, right? He's on three games straight of 100 yards. Um, milking the clock and having long sustained drives would be the key for Virginia Tech. You want to keep Cam Ward on the sideline. I think Cam Ward is the truth, but he has to show it, right? So, but keeping him on the sideline, I think, would be big for Virginia Tech. Having long 12 play drives, 7-minute drives, 8-minute drives, end in 7. Kicking field goals, like I said, get you beat, touchdowns, win you games. So you're gonna have to score. Miami's gonna score. They've played lesser competition, but Florida is a decent competition, decent school, and they put up 40 against them. So keeping Cam Ward and that offense on the sideline should be the key and should be a focal point for this Virginia Tech team. But these are the type of games that Virginia Tech wins. These are the type of games that somehow Virginia Tech pulls out and it's a close game where they went off a last-second field goal. Look at all those times they beat Clemson and things like that. So I know it may be close. But I'm around with Cam Ward and them boys. Shout out to you. I got Miami 42-17. Sorry. Now to a big Big 12 matchup game. I think the elimination game for these two, both teams coming off a loss. Oklahoma State versus Kansas State, 20 versus 23. Let's see how will Chris Kellerman get his young quarterback settled and back ready to ball and back himself, right? He's coming off one of his worst games. He had 130 yards and 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, and was a big factor in that loss, right? So how will he get his guy back? And the same for Gundy and Oklahoma State head coach. How will he get his senior quarterback, Alan Bowman, back? And how will he react to being benched and throwing 2 interceptions and being a big factor in the reason why they lost their game also? So it's a big comeback game, big bounce back game for two teams in the Big 12 in a big elimination game, right? If whoever loses this game, then they'll be 0-2 in the conference, and the chances of making the championship may be over, right? So it's going to be a big game. How will Alan Bowman react, right? He has to protect the ball, but he still wants to be himself, which is aggressive, right? He's an aggressive type of passer, takes a lot of deep shots, but you have to protect the ball, but how will he balance that? So that would be big and seeing how Alan Bowman balance protecting the ball but taking your shots. Ollie Gordon, running back for Oklahoma State. He's the guy, right? He was a Heisman favorite coming in. He's one of my favorite backs in the college right now. He is probably the best back in college, but he hasn't shown it this year, right? Hasn't ranked for 50 yards so far. Teams has been stacking the box, and he has to find ways to get him going. That may be in the pass game, rushing. Find ways to get Ollie Gordon playing good ball and being effective to the offense, and ultimately being effective for winning games, right? OSU on defense must keep Avery Johnson in the pocket, right? Avery Johnson, quarterback for Kansas State, I think he's at his best when he's on the move and he's moving around and making highlight plays, Johnny Manziel type plays, and has that run pass option, but keeping him in the pocket, which BYU did last week, was a key to his him having one of his worst games, right? Then stopping the run, right? Force Avery Johnson to have to beat you on third and longs would be big. Forcing him to be, a pocket passer would be big. So third and get him to third and eights plus third and tens and 12s would be big for Oklahoma State to come out with a dub. Now for Kansas State, you must do the opposite, right? You want to get your young quarterback on the move, put him at his best when he's on the move, run pass options, get him some read options, and just get his juice and his confidence back with his legs and his mobility. Not just all running, but with great passing plays also. Um, the D line has to show up, right? Kansas State best win from against Arizona. Their D line was atrocious. Atrocious. They kept Noah Feeder, quarterback from Arizona, in trouble. He couldn't really never step up in the pocket. He always had to roll out, and couldn't make good plays and had to make crazy throws to TT. And there's no TT at Oklahoma State. So Kansas State D line should not win this game, but be a big factor in why they win this game. And Kansas State must get their running backs involved, right? I think that's the biggest part of their offense. Their duo with DJ Giddens and Dylan Edwards. Their 1-2 punch is one of the best 1-2 punch in college football. So getting them two involved and getting them the ball early will be big. With Dylan Edwards playing per return, that could be a big factor, right? That was kind of a game flipping play against Arizona 2 weeks ago in that big win. So getting your running backs involved with the 1-2 punch, maybe having both of them in the split backfield, which puts a lot of stress on defense because you don't know which way you can run or who will get the ball. So look for them two to be on the field together a lot and them two to be featured a lot in this week's offense for Kansas State. But with all that, I'm round with it's gonna be. I don't know. This is tough. Oklahoma State is the older team. More wise, maybe more veteran like, right? More experienced team. They know how to bounce back off a tough loss. How will Kansas State, young guys react from a tough loss? But I think Kellerman will get those guys ready, and Kansas State will pull out a tough one. 27-20 in a tough one. Kansas State wins this one. In a tough game, man. I think the young guys will bounce back. They'll get, scrutinized, and they're getting all the hates and the DMs crazy like that. So, and they'll bounce back. So, Kansas State 27-20 in a tough one, right? Crazy week. Be sure to tune in to the game to the games this week. It will be some upsets. My upset of the alert would be Illinois beating Penn State. Illinois getting Penn State, man. Illinois, like I told y'all a couple episodes ago, that I love their defensive backs. I love their secondary. Look for them to cause fits against Penn State quarterback Drew Alleman. He isn't the guy for me. He's been looking good against lower competition so far, and he's finally playing some good comp. I think they're gonna expose the cat and pick him off a few times. So Illinois beating Penn State is my upset of the week. But y'all know what it is. We watch games, not box scores. I'm your favorite host. I keep it two things: true, real. Go Buffs. Peace.